So we're in the presence of royalty.
Yeah.
But both of you got your great history as well. But on a serious note, I mean, the whole idea of the Bris-Story, for those who don't know, it's a Facebook page that we set up during COVID, and the idea behind it was to get people to share memories of growing up in Bristol, but also re-establishing friendships with people who they lost contact with because of COVID. We weren't able to go and knock on nobody's door and that. So a small group of us was sharing photographs with about 30 of us. The group exploded to about 3,000 people in there, sharing all types of stories, from favorite places that they used to eat out, record shops they used to go to, the clubs that they were going to at that period of time. People even talking about moments in history like the poll tax riots. I don't know how many people remember those days as well. So we're looking at significant moments in time on the Bris-Story page, but I felt it would be a great way to talk about those moments on the radio, and this is what episode 1 is all about. And as we're both 3 hip-hop diehards, I think that was the best place to start as well. But General, I want to start with you really, because you were someone I observed and admire and still admire growing up. But I just want to know for you, how did it begin for you? What where did it start for you musically? What were you listening to as a youngster when you were growing up?
Oh, that's a tough one. Really, really tough one. I think for me, growing up back in the 70s, 60s era, it was a Jamaican community, like based in Montpellier and St. Paul's. And a lot of those families always had some form of music going on. There was always a house party with somebody at their sound system, and all the kids were there and all that family, just like partying and all that. And music sort of came from that. And like my Uncle George, he had a really good little system and all that sort of thing. And he lived just down the road from us, and we was always in there, listening to those sorts of music and stuff. So you sort of grew up with it from there.
Were the house party more important for the community? Because I think that generation found that there weren't many places that would make them feel welcome, but hear those types of music as well. They're in their own community having these house parties. That's what built out of that scene.
Definitely, the black community, you could say, didn't have anywhere to go, except for maybe the pub. But they couldn't go into town and hear music because they'd probably get chased out, or sort of get called, very sort of racist and all that sort of thing. So they would do their own things, have their house parties, and then sort of blues going on as well, and the local pub and all that sort of thing.
Kelz, I'm just interested to hear from your perspective as well. Some of the music that you grew up around. What was your household like?
Similar to General's, man. Just mainly house parties. My mum used to have obviously my mum come over Jamaica. She came over from Jamaica back in the 50s, in the late 50s, and she was a nurse.
Okay.
So for the NHS, for the NHS, as they did.
Yeah.
Salute to
that generation.
That generation, the Windrush generation. Salute. But my mum was a nurse, so obviously in her spare time, which she didn't have much spare time because she was raising all of us. Yeah. There was 6 of us in one household, so it was a lot of reggae music, a lot of Dennis Brown, obviously the Bob Marley, the Wailers. I won't even say Bob Marley and the Wailers because my mum was into
the Wailers
when he was the Wailers.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that history.
A lot of people don't know that. Before the whole record company thing got in, it became Bob Marley and the Wailers. My mum was was a Wailers fan. From the foundation, from the Ska days, Simmer Down and all that. So, and obviously being of Jamaican upbringing, being brought up in a Jamaican upbringing, it was like the introduction of punk was kind of like brought to me through Ska.
Okay.
But the new form of Ska that they call two-tone.
Yeah.
So
like the Specials.
Selector, Bad Manners. And that the introduction, that kind of introduced me into the, Too Much Too Young was always a classic song to me.
And Ghost, I like Ghost Town, man.
And Ghost Town, but Too Much Too Young introduced me to punk. Right. In a sense, where and it was crazy. It was a mixture. 1 minute is reggae and then it goes into punk and then